It really doesn't matter how much money you had. It doesn't matter how many.
I know it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody who works from Walmart to multi-million who were multimillionaires. They're all coming into my office, and it's affecting everybody.
Well, I mean,
across the board.
When a house that they bought for, we're going to use the example of $1 million, but just because it's a round number, is now worth $400,000, and they put 20% down, and now they owe $800,000 on a $400,000 house. How do you expect a person to recoup from that? How many years does that take?
I don't know. It's never happened in Las Vegas before. I mean, that same situation, that's what most of the people are seeing me about. 9 out of 10 people, it's not credit cards anymore. When they change the bankruptcy laws, it's not that anymore. It's everybody's house is upside down, and now people are just saying, why do I want to keep a house I'm just basically a glorified renter, and I'm renting for more money than actually it's worth.
I don't blame them. I mean, I don't see how they have the ability to sustain that. They're not going to get their money back. It used to be where your house was your retirement at the end of the day at 50 or 60 years old, and that's something that you could sell and draw off of. I think there's two things. I think one is that there needs to be some reform in the mortgage system.
I agree. I completely agree. They need to do something about this.
I think that there was a lot of unqualified people in that the mortgage lenders.
Yeah, they would pretty much give a loan to anybody who would breathe.
They had some responsibility for that, but I also think that there needs to be some personal responsibility, which is what I advocate. I mean, you shouldn't buy something that you can't afford. I mean, if you bought $1 million house and with no money down or 125% mortgage or very little down, you probably should have been in a $500,000 house or a $100,000 house or whatever's relevant to your income. I think that they made it very easy to get into a house where most people would not have been able to get into. I also think that the time could never be better for success in this country. I mean, even though we're in a position where people have very little money, I think if a person works hard enough and does the right thing, I think that there are going to be a lot of success stories that come out of this.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who will be able to recover, and it's the people who hang in there. I think it's going to eventually turn around, but not without some sort of political reform, and that's where I want to get. A lot of people. Will you explain what the Tea Party of Nevada is to our listeners?
The Tea Party, in general, is a group of people from across the country. They are patriots. They're Americans. They're not of any particular denomination or any particular, I believe, political party. I think they're Americans that are searching for real, old-school conservative values. I think that it's difficult for somebody to change affiliations. I mean, I think if you were a Democrat for a long time, you tend to vote like a Democrat, or your family voted for a Democrat, I think. But we have a very unique situation today in this country, and especially in Nevada. I mean, we have a person in charge, supposedly the most powerful guy in the country.
And who is that?
Harry Reid, who has done very little, if anything, to bail our state out, and that should have been his number one priority. We cannot continue. I mean, listen, the Democrats have spent, but under Bush,
we spent too.
We doubled our budget, and under Obama, we've tripled it. So the problem is that both parties have responsibilities here. I'm not blaming the Democrats. I'm not blaming the Republicans. What I'm saying is that and we have a unique opportunity in this state to be the first, is that we can actually do real change. We can actually send a message for real change. We can say, listen, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. I believe that there are real conservative Democrats out there. You know, I think the Tea Party of Nevada, which we started with a small group of people, and we're going to continue through November, is a group of people that are just fed up with politics as usual. They see the greed in Washington. They see politicians getting rich. They see whether it's ex-presidents or congressmen or senators cutting their side deals.
Well, let me ask you a question. What does a U.S. senator make? Do you have an? I mean, I kind of have an idea.
I don't really know. I think it's under a couple $100,000.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's like 165 or 162, and then they have. But I mean, on that, I see like a lot of people who are longtime politicians that are millionaires. How does the hell's that happen?
Well, I think that's called.
I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't know.
I think that's called. We have a term for it in Las Vegas. It's called knowing which horse to bet on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think between the backdoor deals that go on both sides, I think between the, you see Democrats jumping ship right now, left and right, because they don't want to deal with the political fallout. They think, today there was one in the paper, Charlie Rangel. He did not want to bring shame to supposedly his party. We see Democrats not running for re-election. We also see on the other side Republicans that are part of the same problem. I mean, I believe that this framework is not two parties. I believe that really, we have a Republican and a Democrat, but the agenda is the same. The politicians get rich, the people pay for it, and they don't get the proper accountability that they need.
Okay, good. Well, what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask some more questions, but let's open the phone lines up. Okay, you can give a call in if you want to ask Scott any more questions. 365-9200, 365-9200. I'm going to open the phone lines up if you want to call. Be more than happy, and you can ask Scott any type of question you want about why he's running, what his platform's about. I know I usually answer a lot of legal questions, but this is a special show, so you're going to be, I want you to ask questions to Scott if you're out there. And okay, let's talk about some other things here. Okay. Like last week, I know before you ran, people were like saying all kinds of crazy things. They were saying like Harry Reid put you up to this. I mean, have you ever met Harry Reid?
No, and I think the answer to that question is anybody that knows me, anybody that's been a friend for years of me, anybody that's been a neighbor or a business associate knows that nobody can put me up to anything I don't want to do.
Yes.
Not only was I not put up by Harry Reid, I am completely against Harry Reid. I was on TV last night as saying that I think that Harry Reid is an enemy to the state, that he's done nothing.
Yeah, that's enemy to the state's pretty powerful.
It is powerful, but you want to know something? Look where our state's at. I mean, look where we fall in education.
I mean, you have a very good point. I mean, I must say, I watched it last night, and I was like, you got a real good point about the fact that why are we like almost number 2 in unemployment? When there's other, like, I know Texas is doing a lot better than we are.
Well, I think a lot of congressmen and senators negotiated a lot better than Harry Reid from across the country about what they want.
What do you mean, for like the stimulus money?
Well, I think that, when you talk about the Cornhusker deal or the Louisiana Purchase or the other things that these politicians negotiated for their money, for their state. I mean, I just left Carson City yesterday after filing, and there's a bridge that's been there. They've been building for 8 years.
Why does it take 8 years to build a bridge?
Well, it's a good question. We were in New York last year, and one of the travesties of this country is just the political bureaucracy, and I saw that, and I watched a program the other night. It's been 9 years since 9/11.
Yeah,
and we still have a hole in the ground. Which to me is the...
Well, they got a memorial there, I think, though.
No, they don't have a memorial built yet.
Oh, okay. I thought they were building one.
They've got like one of those... there's no memorial there. I mean, it's
not yet.
Really?
No.
Yeah, no. It's one of those deals where the Port Authority got involved, then the developer got involved, and then the government got involved, and 9 years later, we have a hole in the ground because of the bureaucracy and because of the finger pointing.
And nobody can get anything done.
Nobody can get anything done, and it's no different than in Washington.
I have a question.